never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. New every morning. Great is thy faithfulness, O Lord. Great is thy faithfulness, for they are new every morning. So new every morning, for they are new. I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of the Lord. That's a little song they used to sing when I was a little boy in the church I grew up. We called them congregational songs. You couldn't find them in the hymnal anywhere. But somebody would stand up and say, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, I was glad when they said unto me, come let us go into the house of the Lord. Then somebody said, it was joy when they said unto me, it was joy when they said unto me, it was joy when they said unto me, come let us go to the house of the Lord, oh Lord. Come let us go to the house of the Lord. I need every hour. I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Somebody help me say, yeah, every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. And in the tradition that I grew up in, everybody say, yeah. 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 Matabo Oshadabai. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yeah. I need you, Lord. I need you, Lord. Ayadaba. I need you, Lord. I need you, Lord.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercies never ceasing, call for songs of highest praise. Teach me some melodious sonnet, sung by flaming tongues above. Praise the mount I'm fixed upon it, mount of thy redeeming love. I like hymns. Here I raise my Ebenezer, hither by thy grace I've come, and by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Jesus sought me when a stranger, wandering from the fold of God, he who rescued me from danger. Interposed his precious blood. Take it to E flat. This is the verse I like. It says, daily. No. You hit E flat? Okay. It says, oh, to grace, how great a debtor daily I'm constrained to be. Let thy goodness, like a feather, tie my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. But here's my heart, Lord. Take and seal it. Seal it to thy courts above. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. I don't know why I don't want to leave the God I love. No.
It is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not. Thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Summer and winter, springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, thy mercy and love, pardon for all my sins, peace that endureth, Luke 9, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hopes for all my tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness. How many would agree? Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. And all I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto Great is your mercy toward me. Your loving kindness toward me. Your tender mercies I see day after day, forever faithful to me, always providing for me. Great is your mercy toward me. Great is your grace
To you.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, I hope the babbling brook isn't too loud, and I may turn it off completely. Great is thy faithfulness, the great hymn. Lord is faithful. He's faithful to provide. He's faithful to lead. He's faithful to protect. He's faithful to deliver. He's faithful to bring down your enemies. And we have enemies. We have enemies, and it's ever apparent, more so manifest than probably any time in our lives, that at least if you're in my generation. Sheep are being separated from the goats, the chaff from the wheat. We're seeing mass hysteria, mass delusion, deception on a scale we haven't seen since 9/11. These are the days to be faithful ourselves. We are prone to wander, but these are the days, just like the children of Israel wandering in the desert for 40 years, and they could have gone straight through in, I think, a couple weeks or something. Well, we need to set our face like flint. We need to daily get our house in order. Start to let those things fall away in our lives that are distractions, that are just amusements. Of course, I've got to say, this doesn't mean you can't rest, you can't laugh, it's not like that. Balance, But we need to keep our oil lamps full, our wicks trimmed. We need to be strong in the Word. And if you're an American, and anyone else really, you need to understand how the Constitution and the Bill of Rights protect your God-given rights and restrict those who are, even now, doing everything they can to grab more power, gain advantage, and destroy God's visible church, as it were. That's really what it's all about. Destroy his creation, destroy his people, and silence the gospel from being spread throughout the earth, controlling speech, controlling commerce. That's what's happening. So let's get to it. I want to read from Charles Spurgeon's. I want to read one I lifted out today. Psalm 28:9, lift them up forever. God's people need lifting up. They are very heavy by nature. They have no wings, or if they have, they are like the dove of old which lay among the pots. And they need divine grace to make them mount on wings covered with silver and with feathers of yellow gold. By nature sparks fly upward, but the sinful souls of men fall downward. O Lord, lift them up forever. David himself said, unto thee, O God, do I lift up my soul. And here And he here feels the necessity that other men's souls should be lifted up as well as his own. That's the feeling I have. That's why I'm sharing this. I was attacked it's Tuesday. I was attacked last week by some dude for what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Well, I could just sit here and read this to myself. I could listen to music myself. But I feel that not only do I need lifting up these days, but I see all around me a desperate need, people to be lifted up. Not only lifted up, those who know the truth and are overburdened. There's people who don't even know the truth. They don't even know what is happening to them. It's just the most bizarre experience. I know in history people have experienced something like this before. And even probably during my lifetime, because there's been many things going on throughout the world that by the grace of God I haven't had to experience. But now is our time. Now is our time. And everything in your life before this time you've been being prepared for. And if you have been prepared and being prepared in your life to become acquainted with the victor, to be on the side of the living God, count yourself exceedingly blessed. Okay, I'm going to continue here. When you ask this blessing for yourself, forget not to seek it for others also. There are 3 ways in which God's people require to be lifted up. They require to be elevated in character. Lift them up, O Lord. Do not suffer your people to be like the world's people. The world lies in the wicked one. Lift them out of it. As such a, I very often say when things come down the pike at me, everything really, what is the premise, and is the premise correct? What is the premise? We need a paradigm, we need a worldview, and I believe, and no, I know it. The world lies in wickedness. Not only is it lie, as in telling lies and it's full of deception and liars, it lies in wickedness. And I see it more and more and more and more and more. It's almost like there is no end to the depths of iniquity, the depths of lawlessness, the depths of evil, the depths of depravity. And more people are waking up to it. You've probably heard of the pedophilia rings and all these things in high places going on. And it's true. I don't know every story and every person accused and everything that's true, but it's true that these things go on in the highest places, and they have for time immemorial. Why? Because Satan is the prince and power of the air, and he's effectually the ruler of this world. But the earth is the footstool of the Lord. Let's not forget that. Satan's a creature. He's not the creator, right? All right. The world's people are looking after silver and gold, seeking their own pleasures and gratification of their lusts. But Lord, lift your people up above all this. Keep them from being muckrakers, as John Bunyan calls the man who was always scraping after gold. John Bunyan was the author of Pilgrim's Progress, a classic he wrote while he was imprisoned. And I'm not an expert or versed in the book or his story, except I have a copy of it. I've mentioned this before. I couldn't get through it. The time will be right. Maybe it's coming now where I'll read it. It definitely was a touchstone for Charles Spurgeon, who is known as, quote-unquote, the Prince of Preachers. And I'll go along with that. It's just eloquent, beautiful, and serves up the Lord's word and truths in such a beautiful way that's easy to apprehend. All right. So, set thou their hearts upon the risen Lord and the heavenly heritage. Moreover, believers need to be prospered in conflict. Wow. So we have conflict right now, and people are losing their jobs, they're losing their temper, they're losing their minds, they're losing their families, some are losing their homes. We need to be prospered in conflict. Where others perish, we survive. Where others dry up and wither, we're fruitful and bloom. All right. In the battle, if they seem to fall, O Lord, be pleased to give them the victory. If the foot of the foe be upon their necks for a moment, help them to grasp the sword of the Spirit. and eventually to win the battle. And that is what I'm doing here. I've been privileged to be invited to this prayer line. And, it's mostly these women. And there's been a couple guys that come on there besides me. I've been on about 3-4 times. These women are fervent in spirit. And they are of one mind and one heart. And I know I'm double-minded many times. I'm halfway in and halfway out. And I'm thankful for this opportunity to fire. You can catch a fire. If your wick is smoldering, get near those who are burning bright, and you'll soon be burning bright yourself, right? But we need to every day be ready for the victory. There's a hymn or a song, "Victory in Jesus." I'm not going to sing it for you, but there's victory to be had every day. We feed our minds with trying to understand the truth of what's going on, because something major is going on in the world right now. Now, it has been going on, but all of a sudden they've laid down the cards. Okay, they're playing this hand. And we're trying to understand there's many storylines and many ways, many agendas that are being fulfilled. That usually do several levels at one time. Who's they? The powers that shouldn't be. But we can wake up every day and we're never to be intimidated, because it feels like it's only us. There are others. There's others who are not just in a secular way seeking truth, because there's more and more people doing that. But the people who know the real truth, the spirit of truth, we need to grasp the sword of the Spirit, because each of us has the power of Samson. We can tear this whole building down. We have the power of Samson. We have the power of David, who took the jaw of an ass and slayed lions. We have the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to be in the fire and not even come out smelling like smoke, while those who even get near that kind of fire perish. They succumb. That's the living resurrection power that we have. All right. I've got to stop doing these asides. Okay. At the foot of the foe be upon their necks for a moment. Help them to grasp the sword of the Spirit and eventually to win the battle. Lord, lift up your children's spirits in the day of conflict. Let them not sit in the dust, mourning forever. Ouch. I know I've said for a long time, like America's doomed. This country's lost. I mean, I've sort of lost. Why even fight? Why bother? It's like people are they don't even care. I've sat in the dust at times, and along came a goodly wind and picked me up, filled my sail. And I thank God for that, and making these little videos are part of that for me. Suffer not the adversary to vex them sore and make them fret. But if they have been, like Hannah, persecuted, let them sing of the mercy of a delivering God. I don't recall the story of Hannah. It's a pretty name, and I know there is a story. I don't remember. We may also ask our Lord to lift them up at the last. Lift them up by taking them home, meaning lift them up at the last day, right? Which is coming. It's coming. Spring is here. If you're in the northern hemisphere, spring is coming. Well, hemisphere, whatever, that part of the earth. Let me just put that out there for everybody's, wherever you are in that situation. I tend to believe, and I have no bones about it, if I had to put my money down, the earth is flat. The globe thing is a lie. It's a deception. And I know it's mind-blowing, and if you just went flying out of the back of the wagon right now, I'm sorry. But, my mama didn't raise no fool, and neither did the Lord, okay? I've asked for wisdom. I've asked to be led into the truth, and I've read some serious books that are well over 100 years old on it. And, yeah, true to form, the book identifies the deceivers, and, it all falls into place. It all makes sense, and it lines up with the Word of God. And though I can't get in a rocket and go 10 miles up and look down and see things. Like I said, I'm an odds player, and out of all my homework and research, and I've done a fair bit. Yeah, that's where I don't have, does it matter? It does matter. It does matter because it belies the depth of wickedness, the scope of which deception and deceivers have been the scope of time in which they're doing it and the depths to which they're doing it, and the evidence that Satan alone, he's well acquainted with the minds and the nature of man and history, and he works through people. And all right, we may ask the Lord to lift them up at the last. Lift them up by taking them home. Lift their bodies from the tomb and raise their souls to thy eternal kingdom and glory. One thing I haven't heard a lot about, all these people allegedly, purportedly, supposedly dying of this COVID-19. I don't hear a lot of the church preaching about thank God to be absent from the body is being present with the Lord. If this disease gets me, God will lift me up. He'll take me home. I'll be with the Lord forever. I'll be free of this body of sin and death. I don't hear much of that. All I hear is, oh my God, don't come to church. Stay home. Obey your governor. These pastors aren't fit to preach. They're not fit to... First of all, if they're up there a lot of times wearing a collar or wearing their dress, yeah, they're wearing their purple dress, they're wearing their robes with their sachets on there. They stand to be greeted and reverenced. Don't ever call them pastor. Don't ever call them reverend. Call them by their first name. They need a little bit of that. Give them a little dose. That's right. All right. I want to read, when it talks about taking up the sword of the Spirit, Ephesians, we're told to be strong in the Lord and the power of his might, and put on the whole armor of God. Armor. I'm wearing a shirt, and right now a pair of shorts, but I put on clothes, right? But we also need to put on armor. That's what I'm doing right now. Putting it here, that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. There is a devil. One premise that people have wrong is that Satan doesn't exist. There's not really a devil. There's not really an active force, a being that has his own army of angels to roam about, to tempt, deceive, to do all kinds of manner of wickedness in the earth and attack. He's a child stealer. He's a child killer. He's a child raper. And I'm talking literal child and the children of God. That's what he's all about. He's a murderer. He's a thief. He's a destroyer. Destroyer of families. What's the fruit of this alleged quarantine? It's destroying businesses. Destroying small businesses. Corporation going to take over. Big corporations. It's destroying families. Who usually takes over when families get destroyed? Yeah, the government. The powers that shouldn't be. All right, moving on. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world. Make no mistake, this card that's been played by the powers that shouldn't be is done by agents of rulers of the darkness of this world. The powers and principalities and the rulers of the darkness of the world use men who are willing to be used. Why would they do that? Because just like Satan took Christ to the pinnacle and showed him all the kingdoms of the earth and said, all this will be yours if you just bow down and worship me. He has the power to give riches, all the lusts of the flesh, you name it. Fame, fulfill greed. Well, you can't fulfill greed. It's like the world of the dead. There's always room for more. Okay. Wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against these powers that I just mentioned, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. I'm going to add, there's spiritual wickedness in low places. There's spiritual wickedness everywhere. We need spiritual righteousness, and it's only to be found through Christ. It's not to be found in any religion. It's not to be found in Muhammad. It's not to be found in keeping the law. It's in the blood of Christ, the gospel. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. We all want a happy life. We want to be successful. We want to have, the house, the esteem of our friends, our neighbor, maybe a good name and nice things and nice clothes and good food and great vacations, and life is rosy, right? Well, what's the trade-off if we have all those things and have a level of comfort that we completely insulate ourselves from recognizing we live in an evil day? We're living in end times, And believe me, I want those kind of things, but I don't want to lose sight of what's really real, what's really important. And I thank God He's delayed. He's withstood me. He's just like a parent, and I don't have children, but a parent doesn't buy his children, a good parent doesn't buy their children everything their heart wishes for. No, the parent makes them go to bed at the right time, eat all their vegetables, apologize when they do something, punish them when they do wickedly, because foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, right? There's a lot of children, and it's getting worse and worse, that grow up that never have the foolishness taken out of them. All right. And having done all to stand, stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness. That's Christ, and that's Christ, okay? And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one and the wicked. Fiery darts. They burn you up. They get under your skin, right? And they make you have to do maintenance on your armor because they're fiery darts. They hit and they burn and they pierce. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. The sword is the biggest weapon. The sword is the strongest piece of your armor. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit. All prayer. Prayer of thanksgiving. Prayer of seeking will. Prayers asking for wisdom. Prayers of praise. Prayers of intercession. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, let's get to what I'm here for. That's Psalm 103. I'm just going to read it, going through, and then I'll pick up where I left off and do a couple of the comments on verses 6 through 18. And let me restart this a little bit because I'm going to run out of water on this stream. All right. So Psalm 103 begins, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits." And this verse is so powerful right now, especially. Many people are blessing themselves, thinking of all the benefits they're going to get when they get a check from the government. When they get a check from the government. Or if they're going to get health care from the government. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all His benefits. People forget His benefits. He has real benefits. He's able to provide. He's able to provide. He's able to lead you to find what you need. He forgives all your iniquities and He heals all your diseases. Oh, okay, I guess David was all washed up. Okay, that was a different God back then. He actually did that kind of thing. Really? It's not what Bible say. Bible says He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. All right, thanks for coming out. Mic drop. It's the truth, man. It's the truth. All our diseases, all our lawlessness, all can be made right. He redeems our life from destruction. He crowns you with loving kindness and tender mercies. He satisfies your mouth with good things. When's the last time you ate a good thing? Forget not his benefits. Give thanks for that. So that your youth is renewed like the eagles. The Lord executes righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. The powers that shouldn't be that are oppressing right now, the Lord's executing righteousness and judgment. Oh yeah, he confounds the plans of the wicked. Confounds them. He sits in the heavens and holds them in derision, and he laughs. He who digs in a ditch for his neighbor shall fall into it himself. That's what these people shouldn't be. That's what Bill Gates is doing. Oh, you shouldn't judge Bill Gates. You're not the judge. Yeah? His own words judge him. Listen to that man. He's a little pope. He I don't know. I don't know where that guy's going as far as, how it's all going to play out on the earth. But he is bad news. In fact, well, anyway, moving on. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. And he's making his ways known unto you, my friend. In your own life, he makes known his ways. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He has not dealt with us after our sins, nor has he rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy towards them that fear him. And, we have an understanding of the word fear as this, like he's a vengeful, terrible, frightening God. No, it means to revere, to reverence him. Those people that like to go around with the collars and dresses and be called reverend, they like to be feared. They like to be feared. They like people to be afraid of them holding them of those kind of characters holding someone in consternation, of making some moral judgment upon them. They like that power. As far as the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Like as a father pities his children, so the Lord pities them that fear him. For he knows our frame. He remembers that we are dust. As for man, his days are as grass. As a flower of the field, so he flourishes. For the wind passes over it, and it's gone. I want you to think about that. Where you live, it's coming up daisies. And you're going to have those little things you pick up and you blow them off. You're blowing off those little wispy, I think those are daisies, aren't they? You got daisies, and then you have that thing that kind of, you know what I'm talking about? I don't even know what it's called. But you pick it up and you blow a wish and you blow the thing off. That's how we are. The wind passes over and we're gone. And the place thereof shall know it no more. But the mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him. And it's not upon the powers that shouldn't be. It's not on the people who want to harvest your labor, who don't give a rip about your life, your health, or anything else. All that matters is how they can profit off you and how they can use you. You exist to serve them in their mind. That is their racist belief. You better believe it and know it. That's their racist belief. They have elevated themselves above you to where you are a non-human. Yes. Non-human. You are not made in the image of God. You are cattle. You are cattle. You are cattle. You are their human resource. Mercy of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children. I'm thankful I have a heritage of faith in my family, and it helps me to know that not everyone does. And it also helps me to do this. Somewhere along the line, someone down the line, up the line, however you want to look at it. I know, for example, my mom, she walked to the Methodist church that was in her neighborhood, and it began there, I believe, in my mom's family. She went herself. She went by herself. She had a younger brother that was suffered from polio. And my mom found hope in the Lord, and she began there, as best I know. I'll have to ask her more about that. To such as keep his covenant, and to those that remember his commandments to do them. What are his commandments? Well, one is love one another. Seek the Lord while he may be found. You know? Seek the Lord. Hunger and thirst after righteousness, and you'll be filled. The Lord has prepared his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom rules over all. Bless the Lord, you his angels that excel in strength, that do his commandments, and hearken unto the voice of his word. Bless you the Lord, all his hosts, you ministers of his that do his pleasure. Bless you the Lord, all his works, and all places of his dominion. It's pretty much everywhere. It's everywhere. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Okay. I'm going to pick up, I probably should have reviewed exactly where I left off because I'm not sure, but I'm going to start. Maybe there'll be a slight bit of overlap. He has pitied our sorrows. This is Matthew Henry now. Wait a minute. Well, I don't remember. Okay. I'll start with Spurgeon again here from the Treasury of David. I think because normally that's what I'll start with first, then I'll get to Henry later. He will not always chide. He will sometimes, for he cannot endure that his people should harbor sin in their hearts, but not forever will he chasten them. You know, all the things going on right now, it's some chastisement for this nation. For the world, really. People after 9/11, they turn to the Lord. People through this, whether it's fear of some alleged pestilence or the fact that they realize that government is acting like God, they're going to seek the living God. They're going to draw near to him, and when you draw near to the Lord, he exposes our sinfulness, and we need him evermore for cleansing. But not forever will he chasten them. As soon as they turn to him and forsake their evil ways, he will end the quarrel. He might find constant cause for striving with us, for we have always something in us which is contrary to his holy mind. But he refrains himself, lest our spirit should fail before him. Thank you, Lord, for that. It will be profitable for any one of us who may be at this time out of conscious fellowship with the Lord to inquire at his hands the reason for his anger, saying, quote, "Show me why you contend with me." For he is easily entreated of, and soon ceases from his wrath. Do you feel like the Lord's angry with you? Ask him why. You know, first of all, the wrath of God fell upon Christ in our behalf. So it's not the kind of anger that those words might evoke or conjure in your mind. It is a holy chastisement. It's a consternation. You know, a child really would rather have their parent love them than scold them. But if the parent never scolded them or looked with them with was cross with them because of their behavior, why would they ever change? When his children turn from their sins, he soon turns from his chidings. Neither will he keep his anger forever. He bears no grudges. The Lord would not have his people harbor resentments. Remember, we're to forgive, right? In his own course of action, he sets them a grand example. When the Lord has chastened his child, he has done with his anger. He is not punishing as a judge, else might his wrath burn on. Yeah, isn't it true? There's a lot of judges who feel it's their place to act wrathful. Anyway, moving on. Excuse me one moment. Excuse me. And for those of you who said bless you, thank you very much. He is acting as a father, and therefore, after a few blows, he ends the matter and presses his beloved ones to his bosom as if nothing had ever happened. Or, if the offense lies too deep in the offender's nature to be thus overcome, he continues to correct. But he never ceases to love, and he does not suffer his anger with his people to pass into the next world, but receives his erring child into his glory. I'm just going to stop right there this morning. Thank you very much for coming out. That's really good. And, I can relate to that. We have besetting sins. You have besetting sins, and I have besetting sins. Those things that are just hard to get rid of. The things that you fall into again and again. Say, I knew better. I'm sorry, Lord. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have thought that. Whatever it is, okay? Or it's not just a should not have done. It's the should have dones. Oh, Lord, I should have prayed. I know I should have been thankful. I know I was hungry and I just tucked in right into that food and just ate it like a pig, like an animal who doesn't stop to give thanks. I'm sorry, Lord. I should have been thankful. I'm thankless. I just take things for granted. I mean, you can let the Lord shine the candle of his light in your heart, and you'll find all kinds of stuff coming up that needs to be, acknowledged and let go. Just let it go. Get that out of you. All right, so that's enough for today. I appreciate you coming out. I hope you make a great day. Don't let the bastards get you down. That's what they want to do. They want to break your spirit. And I encourage you to go to chrisannhall.com. She's an attorney, and she teaches about the Constitution. Get some free education there. She also has some stuff that's very inexpensive but extremely high quality that can make you equipped to deal with if you're in the United States particularly, to deal with the lawlessness that will abound. You need to be equipped. You do not want them to have advantage over you, because as a child of God, you will be targeted. You will be targeted, and you won't be targeted consciously by most of the people who are doing the targeting. They are being used. The demons told the disciples, or the people that were trying to cast out the devils, they said, Paul we know and Jesus we know, but who are you? Okay? Well, they know who God's children are. They know who has the Spirit of God. They know who is here to bring in truth and the light, and who wields the sword of the Spirit, who is sealed with his holy seal, his name. Your enemy knows that. Now, the guy or the gal who is really giving you a hard time, seems to have it out for you, or who is making your way rough, they may not even know why they feel that way. But there's a spirit that works in unbelievers. All right, make a great day. Thanks for coming out. Bye.